Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. Let's just get this one right out of the way, right at the top. We are missing an Olivia tonight, so that's very sad. She's fine. She's just out of town. But so we are proceeding tonight without our we are at half capacity on speakers, but this tonight. But uh anyway, welcome everybody to the beginning of the season 2 finale arc, which is wild. So yeah, this will be the last arc of the season. I'm still not giving an end date because I don't want to jinx us. So and we like have to end at a specific time, but I'm not going to tell you what time that is. Anyway, uh soon the so
End is nigh.
yeah, the end is nigh. Fire and brimstone of the end times will consume us. Yeah, that's not at all not at all in any way indicative of how this arc is going to go. Anyway,
Hmm.
so before we get into tonight's game, no big announcements this week. Everything is pretty much programming as usual. So everything that you would expect to happen is happening. We will continue with our Mass Effect stream on Saturday. Instead of what we usually have, which is the last Saturday of the month, we usually do. Is this the last Saturday of the month? It is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We usually have a Borderlands stream, but as John will not be around this weekend, we're gonna just continue with the Mass Effect playthrough. So, we will be moving the Borderlands stream to another time. So, uh, probably last Saturday of next month. Um, we are in the process of planning the Rule of Lore Among Us stream. We are in the process of planning that. Everybody's kind of gotten past the point of totally unstable schedules, and now we're getting to a point where we can actually plan that. So we are getting there. Um, so that we look forward to any announcements about that in the next couple weeks, probably. Um, Infinite Horizon teas are back in the merch store. I think that's always worth bringing up, just because I feel like I've mentioned it in a lot of streams, but people still are like surprised to hear it every time I say it. So yes, they're back. They're in there. You can get the t-shirts for season 1 and season 2 art, character art by our very own Caitlin Bruder, now in the store. So yeah, you can get on that. If you've been sitting around waiting for those shirts to drop back in the store, wait no longer.
I was just wait no longer.
That's all I've got for channel announcements.
I have
Anybody
a
else have stuff?
very special to my heart guest on Friday for
That's true.
Ramblemancy.
Yeah, that's right. On this Friday for Ramblemancy at 7 p.m. Pacific time, we will be joined by one Rick Bud, who will be joining us to talk about superheroes, which I'm very excited about.
It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah, yeah, very excited. So if you're in any way a fan of anything Rick has done, honestly, like with was it Tempting Fate? Is that what, like, that's the kind of like the big one that he's like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, Tempting Fate, and more
I
recently,
couldn't tell if you were doing a bit, and I was like,
no,
yeah. I don't know how I'm supposed to
no,
react.
I was
Yes, yes.
genuinely, that was a
That's
genuine
okay.
question. And then
Yes.
more recently, Power Play over on Q Times. So yeah, if you're in any way a fan of any of that content, and Rick in general, which I think you should be, frankly,
Yes.
then you should come and hang out on Friday. Yeah. Yes, Heart of Handprints. We scored a Rick Bud visit. I'm very excited about that.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's all I've got for channel announcements. If anybody else has other announcements they would like.
Watch Power Play on Sunday. I won't be there though. I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be out of town, so I won't be there. Which is, if you watch the last episode, that's why that happened. But yeah, be there. It's gonna be good. And I'm not gonna be there, but there is something I think. I don't know things, so I'm not gonna. It's a surprise anyway. There might be something cool that's happening, and it's very small and very little, but I'm excited about it. So you might get to see that on Sunday. The most vague announcement ever. Go watch Power Play. That's all I've got.
Be
Excellent.
cool. We promise.
Yes.
Anything else? Drac, I think you're muted.
I said, "God damn it!" when I noticed I was muted. I'm streaming all over the place. I did a session 1 of the campaign I'm in over on Play Multiverse, called the Shepherd Trials. It was very fun. I will say that also why I'm a bit low energy today, but to everyone that was watching, everyone else liking, thank you. And we're going to be back in another 2 weeks. It's going to be a bi-weekly thing, so every 2 weeks on Wednesday at 5:30 Eastern, we're going to be over there. That's Play Multiverse on Twitch. I'm going to be playing a D&D campaign where it's basically like a anime tournament arc, but make it fantasy D&D kind of thing. It's great. I got a little robotic monkey because I'm an artificer. So my 7 homunculus is a robot monkey whose name is Cujo. And yeah, he's very sassy.
That's amazing. All right. Cool. And as per usual, follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, follow Remy.
Yeah. Oh, I do actually have an announcement for that,
yeah.
because
yes.
I'm reopening commission a small amount of commission slots this Friday. So if you want something commissioned for me, stuffed animal wise, I'm there. I'm your man.
They make such cool plushies, you guys. Like, genuinely, if you haven't seen them, if you don't own one, like, you need to. I have 3. Well, I had 3. One of them was for my sister, so it's no longer in my possession, but I have been in possession of 3 Remy made plushies, and they're very good.
Yeah. So as we said, follow Remy on Twitter. I think that's everything for announcements. So let's go ahead and get into tonight's episode. And welcome back. Sorry. just Caitlin just sort of generally screaming in the background before I transitioned over.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's good. We're fine.
You're not on camera right now. Anyway, previously on Infinite Horizon, the Bellerophon returned to Sulon after the crew's encounter with Figment. And they parted ways with Calvin Hayes' hired ship hands. Upon returning with the rest of their friends, reuniting with the rest of their friends back at Awakener, the crew briefed them on the harrowing ordeal in the Tatters and the need to seek out the Voxora. CT explained that the Voxora Council would be difficult to convince and that the crew's presence would likely complicate matters due to the Voxora's suspicion of organic beings. Before the crew departed for Voxora space, Becker took Dr. Amron with the intention of returning her to the Resistance base for safekeeping. After a brief stop for supplies, the crew set course for Voxora space using a series of conduit jumps provided by CT. While they were traveling, the crew had a few moments to catch up with each other, and Alma happened upon Mason. And as they chatted, while they checked supplies in Awakener's hold, as they spoke, Alma confessed that she had feelings for Bina, but had chosen not to act on them. Although Mason acknowledged her decision, he warned her that holding back could lead to equally harmful feelings of regret down the road. The crew received a less than warm welcome when they arrived at the Voxora's homeworld, but CT was able to convince them to allow Awakener to land on a station in orbit above the planet. Upon landing, the crew returned the captured Voxora and were briefly detained while they waited for the High Council to decide what to do with them. Eventually, the crew were granted an audience and were able to convince the High Council to give them information about Figment. And that is where we left off. So, uh, as we come back into this evening's game, we're gonna go ahead and say that it's been just a little while since the meeting with the Voxora High Council. They sort of adjourning to discuss some of the implications of this whole situation that you've brought to their attention. That being the presence of at least one extremely powerful collective being of collective consciousness present in the galaxy with designs that are as yet unknown, um but upon speaking with them, with the Voxora High Council, they revealed to you information about their previous experience with beings such as this in their own galaxy prior to their exodus to this one. Namely, that the focus of those beings in their own galaxy had centered around prime conduits, specifically the version of conduits, the much larger version of conduits that allow for travel between galaxies. Um, and with that, as you kind of made um, that connection between that and the prime conduit that Silverbreak and the other corps had managed to build on their own illegally, things sort of have started clicking into place a bit. But as I said, before the council adjourned and sort of withdrew to discuss matters, they did mention that they were going to be recalling several of the Voxora gatherers that are out in the field to hopefully bring any information that might be of any use. So, where we start right now, you all are just sort of sitting off to the side in a what can must be some sort of Voxora reception chamber of some kind, although it's hard to say with their architecture being so very different from that you're used to seeing, and largely ignored at the moment, aside from the occasional passerby who, having likely never seen or encountered organic beings before, they sort of stop with passing interest and then continue on their way. Um, so as you all sit waiting, Bina, you notice that uh, amongst the crew, um, you notice that Patch seems to be somewhat restless. More than usual, as Patch tends to be pretty rarely displays any kind of um outward signs of anxiety or nerves.
Just any agitation whatsoever.
Mhm.
Bean will kind of like scoot over and like kind of sit next to them and just kind of like kicking their feet a little bit. And we'll just kind of be like, "You good?"
I am unsure as to the decision the council has made about me, if any.
Well, we're not gonna leave you behind, so you can count on that.
That is comforting.
We've broken weird laws before. It's fine.
Patch just sort of looks at you and then they nod, and they kind of are somewhat stilled, but you still can kind of feel that that kind of undefinable emotion in the air that you are maybe starting to understand the emotional idiosyncrasies of Patch as an individual Voxora.
Yeah.
So you're probably kind of, it's like when you start learning, like getting somewhat conversant in a language, you're still kind of like hesitating when like,
Yeah.
is that what I think it is? Like, does that mean what I think it
I
does?
have the vibe. I get the vibe.
Yeah.
But, like, I could be wrong because there's like, you know,
Yeah. I think
intricacies that I don't know. But
at this point might be like probably the first time that Bina is recognizing that that she has a little bit of that you have the broad strokes. It's just nuance that you lack with
Yeah.
Patch's emotions.
I get like the overarching like vibes usually.
Yeah.
But still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Bina would not blame them at all for being upset right now. This is a lot.
Yeah.
They might be facing like whatever the equivalent of detainment is here just for everything they've done. So like they are perfectly within the right to feel lots of different things. So
Yeah.
Dana will just just stay next to them and like kicking her feet a little bit.
Yeah. I'd say at this point, Alma, who probably had to leave all of you after your display of abilities, had to leave to go and like actually talk to somebody about the unauthorized
Shit,
flight
sorry about that.
of Awakener. Is not Alma returns now at this point with Jade. And the two of them sit down, and Alma just says, well, I think I smoothed everything over with the Voxora Landing Authority, but
That was gutsy. That was really good though. That was fun.
yeah,
I think there was an open roof, huh?
yeah, it was a bit of a gamble. I wasn't quite aiming with. It's a little hard with different perspective, I suppose. Um, I did I did notice when I was with Awakener, Wire sent a message, said that we needed to get back to her as soon as we can. So I figured I'd come tell you all before it got too far.
Was it a text?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, are we needed here?
As you kind of all look around, Vix leans forward and says, "Oh, they didn't tell us we had to wait. Is this sort of one of those omission loophole kind of situations, or?" He like turns and looks at you, CT.
Will not disagree with your assessment. There was no explicit details made about whether we should remain or not. However, it might be speaking very emphasis on the word that I had just spoken. There might be some implicated ideas about remaining until another Voxora escorts us back to the Awakener. However, nothing was stated otherwise.
Could, I don't know, ask for an escort and leave someone here?
Sounds good to me.
Everybody at
Perhaps
this
we
point.
give Peach a
Yeah,
task.
I was gonna say at this point, like all heads turn towards Peach. She just says, "Fine, I guess I will stay behind and play diplomat."
You could use some practice. I think that would.
Yeah, you're probably a bit rusty.
Thanks. Um Vix stands up and says, "Well, then what are we waiting for? I think we could probably right, you've got
You're
this."
very, you're really eager to leave. Are you nervous?
I have no idea what's going on here. I have absolutely no idea if we're friends, allies, in trouble, about to get arrested. No idea. So really, like, moving is helpful. I like to just walk
So you
around
are
and
scared. Okay, that was just a really long-winded way of saying you're scared.
I
It's
don't
fine.
know.
We, we can go.
I don't
We
know
can go.
why
Let's go. Come on,
why do you still
Vix. Let's
try
go.
that? Why do you know that doesn't get a rise out of me?
I do think all of those statements are true, though. Bana says
Yes.
as we're walking away.
All right, let's see what Wire has to say.
All right. So as as y'all make your way back to Awakener, you step inside the ship. It is worth noting that there are quite a few of the Voxora guard that are like keeping an eye on Awakener from the outside. And a
Maybe
few
did reveal a little bit of our hand there with,
Yeah.
with the remote activation. Of
yeah, they watch you as you pass, but they don't try to stop you from going in or anything. So, um, so yeah, as you step inside, making your way towards one of the nearby, actually, probably makes sense that you'd probably head to the observation deck. Observation deck,
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
where you've got like the whole meeting
Absolutely.
room. Yeah, okay. Um, all right, so you make your way up um to the observation deck, and as you punch up the sequence for Wire's frequency, after a few moments you see the holographic image of Wire just resolve in kind of over the display table. She looks down at all of you and just says, "Finally, how are things going with the Voxora?"
Well, we haven't been arrested yet, so like, I think that's probably a good sign.
Yeah. I mean, they agreed to work together with us. We have some information actually. This Figment, they've come into contact with something like it, and they aimed immediately for anything that could get them between galaxies, so prime conduits. And there's a chance that our Figment is doing the same thing, and also that because there's one around, there's likely to be more. So it's not just Figment we're gonna have to keep an eye out for.
Or there's just more of Figment.
The
Oh,
name
yes.
certainly implies such, that it is just a piece of a larger whole.
Well, regardless, that's all probably going to have to wait.
Oh.
There's more.
I just caught a bit of information coming down the pipeline. It seems like the Ascendancy has pulled back a lot of its fleets from front lines, and they're making a push for a specific region within corporate space. And it looks like the Commonwealth is doing the same in response to this movement.
Do I remember anything like this happening? Is this another deviation from the
Uh,
timeline that I remember? There's been a lot, so
This, I think, is probably. I don't know that this would be. I mean, yes. Let's put it this. Let's say this. Yes, this is something that you remember happening, but it was much later in the course of events, and it didn't happen in corporate space.
okay. So like the moment Wire says that, you just see kind of Tayan like immediately whip out his wrist computer and pull up like a hologram of like the equivalent of like a newspaper article from his time. It's like, this kind of happened, but it shouldn't be happening now and not there. This should be happening in another 2 or 3 years. Too many things are deviating. So not that my future knowledge has been much help anyway, but it's going to be even less help in this case as well. This is another weird deviation.
Something accelerated events, any major things?
Can I think of anything that might have accelerated it? Like, do we know why this is happening? Nothing.
There's no way for you to know that. There's absolutely no way for you to know that.
Us?
Hmm?
Us? Not talking to the GM.
It might. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, whatever it
You
is,
being-
this is a major move, a major military move that's taking place, and in corporate space of all places.
Yeah.
Here, I actually have the coordinates for where they seem to be heading. Turns out, huge military operations are much harder to hide than, well,
Mm-hmm.
here.
And you can see that, like, as she swipes over, you can see coordinates pop up, and you can see that it's kind of the opposite side of corporate space from where you currently are. And as you are looking at it, you can see there is a particular location that is centered, and you can see as the map sort of scrolls to that spot, it zooms in and pulls out sort of like a pop out of like a sort of research complex. And Bina, it looks vaguely familiar to you, but you're having trouble placing it until Alma just says, "Arc 1. Arc 1 research station. That's it. That's it. That's." She looks around at all of you. That's where I went. That's where the prime conduit is.
Oh.
Okay.
It just, the memory just, it came to me. Seeing this, it's vague still, but I'm sure of it. I'm sure that's where it is.
If you're able to give us any more information as we go, please let us know. But no pressure.
Yeah.
We'll have to move quickly.
Wire just sort of she's, as Alma said that, she's like looked to the side and has started, you can see that she's looking at something off screen, and then looks back, says,
Okay. I think it's safe to say that the Ascendancy has probably discovered the Commonwealth's deal with the
Yeah.
corpse. This is potentially a disaster. There is one other thing.
and you see as she she pulls up a feed where you can see what looks like and it's just sort of a brief clip, but it looks like a public address by Commonwealth officials on the subject of this major military move, basically framing the whole ascendancy move as an aggression against allies of the Commonwealth, and basically it's like your standard like basic propaganda type speech of, where it's like,
Yeah.
we will unite in this time to blah blah blah, like that kind of thing. And the thing that is significant about it more than anything is that you recognize Mirabelle Calreath Sr., who is not speaking but is next to the Commonwealth Prime Minister. And as you notice that Vix, you can
I
see
was like, I look at
Vix
Vix.
as he just goes stone faced.
Everyone in the room just looks at Vix immediately.
Okay, but like he can't hide from me. How's he doing?
What? Oh, not good.
Okay.
Yeah, he is seething. He glances around and says, "It's fine." So, what do we do then?
I'll be honest. I don't know. Do you want to get in the middle of that? We'll be in a crossfire with two armies. Three. Yeah.
Is our
But
goal here to destroy the conduit?
I think it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
At the
If
very
there's
least, it'll
nothing-
slow down whatever the Figment is trying to do.
I think that was always the plan.
So there's a jumping off point. I don't know if we're necessarily going to be able to talk anyone out of this. There are too many people involved.
Yeah.
I think diplomacy is past.
Far, yeah. Espionage. We're gonna have to
Honestly,
get
that might be our
stealthy.
best bet, especially with 3 armies going in to protect or destroy this prime conduit.
That might be perhaps the only option.
Above game, does it seem like the ascendancy? Does it seem like the ascendancy want? I mean, no, it's not like. Does it seem? Do we have any like ascendancy propaganda that we can see to see what they're trying to do, or at least what they're trying to tell people they're aiming to do?
Yeah, actually, that wouldn't be too hard to find either. Like you can probably like Wire would probably have also sent you like like videos of like ascendancy leadership making speeches about a about a about something that the like a piece of technology that the Commonwealth had planned to use to gain an advantage in the war or whatever, and basically saying that it seems like their goal is to go and take it for themselves.
Take for themselves.
Yeah, it's
Here's how I see it, and I'm definitely going to need everyone's point of view. But we can either do espionage, because I do think going in head on is going to be near impossible with how many people we're going to have to, how many backs we're going to need to be watching. Or the enemy of our enemy is at the very least an acquaintance. It seems like the ascendancy, they want to get this in their own hands, but I feel like they might be more interested or just as interested in making sure it's not in the Commonwealth's hands. Maybe they can help us at the very least get close to it and we can just destroy it from there, or they can outright help us destroy it. It seems like they know of some technology. I don't know if they realize it's a prime conduit or not. But from
What's
these
the prime conduit? There's definitely going to be people who won't want it destroyed, who will just want it.
Yeah.
I'll also remind all of you that as far as the Ascendancy is concerned, you're all galactic criminals
Terrorists.
and
Yeah.
I
terrorists.
forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Okay, maybe
Not
espionage
you.
is our
You're
only
good.
option.
You're fine. You haven't even been born yet.
True. That's very true.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And may I bring up an additional point? And specifically for discussions that you have brought up before, Taeon, if we are to destroy this prime conduit, and we are known that it contains the power of artifacts.
Yeah. It might just have the same reaction but bigger as what we saw
Yes.
at the Asher Felder, and that's a good point.
can't hear you.
Muted.
Whoa. Not just very, I guess, microphone very not sensitive today. This is a really weird angle. What are the chances we could get in on the good side of some caretakers. They know more about conduits than anyone. And if this is a fake one,
They would want it to not exist anymore.
probably. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know what goes on in a caretaker's head, but I don't know.
Even if we
Pursuing
could,
a
how would
neutral-
how would they help us? They're scattered across multiple conduits in the galaxy. At
Pick
least from
one
what I've
and
seen,
hope.
it doesn't seem like they're able to travel between conduits themselves. But again, I might be wrong because I don't think I can actually tell the difference between different caretakers. They very well could be one from different conduits. I don't know.
This is such a reach, so it might not even be a thing. But we know there's a large population of caretakers on Sulon.
That's a good point. I
I don't
mean,
even know if this is feasible, but they're the only people in the galaxy who know anything about the conduits, unless the Voxora are holding out on us. And I turn to CT like, I don't know.
I can assure you, we are not holding out to perhaps the same measure that the caretakers are.
Understandable. That's an option on the. I don't know. We could pitch a case to see if we could get any of them to talk to us or listen at least.
It is the most neutral of all the options thus
It
far,
is,
and
yeah.
therefore at least worth considering for the time being.
At this point, you all read. I would say actually Bina first. You'd receive like communication, incoming communication from Peach.
I
Yeah.
open it.
Hey, the the council, they said that they have some of their scouts have already returned, and uh they have some news about the prime conduit.
We do too. We'll be back in a second.
Okay, be fast. This is big.
we should probably hurry then.
We'll talk to you later, Wire. Thank you so much.
Let me know what you're doing. I'm dispatching a one, regardless of what you decide. I'm dispatching a field team that's already out in the field right now, relatively close to the area, at least to do some preliminary reconnaissance. Whatever you decide, they'll be there to provide support.
Cool.
Good.
That's good.
And she
Good
cuts
luck.
communication.
We
Well,
rush
let's see
over
what more
back to
information we
Peach.
can get.
Yeah.
Reconvene.
All right. So,
Hmm.
as you all make your way back to the the Voxora High Council chamber, stepping inside, Peach is already there, at kind of standing at kind of the central platform at the bottom, waiting for you. As you approach, you notice that there is also another Voxora there. This one looks like a cybernetically enhanced Nelfin. And Peach turns and welcomes you and says, you'll note, by the way, you will note that the Voxora High Council is not there. Like, you can see that they, like before, where there were sort of these large kind of transparent cylinders filled with sort of electrical pulses of energy. Those now are not present, and you can see that they seem to have receded into, like, behind sort of a large pair of doors. Peach just says, "Tell them what you told me." The other Voxora steps forward. It says, "Well, it seems like we've gotten some information about this prime conduit, that the several of our gatherers have been watching it for months now. and it seems like there is an increase of activity there. What we've gotten from from monitoring transmissions at the station is that they are going to be running some kind of full test, some sort of full operation. And it's apparently being overseen personally by Damian Ellis, CEO of Silverbreak. He arrived only a day or so ago.
What is that going to do with so many? We You probably know this already then, but we have some news as well. The Ascendancy and the Commonwealth seem to be congregating in corporate space, and it's going to be around almost exactly on the prime conduit, at least from what we know. That can't be good, right? Testing out something like a prime conduit for the first time with potentially that many people around.
It's hard to say. Perhaps, but something like this has not been attempted. In the history of your galaxy, at least.
Well, that sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
At which point Vix just says, "Yeah, and what's that about being overseen by Damian Ellis personally?"
I think it's more of what's left of Damian Ellis.
Yeah, kind of what I was
Personally.
getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very clear at this point that Figment has every bit of hold on that man, and to put him in a place where their goals are to be met, presumably, that is very dangerous.
I turn to this Voxora. Do we have we didn't get a name for this
No.
Voxora? No. What do you know about the dismantling and or destruction of a conduit?
I don't know anything about that.
Is there any like history of when the humans came through and wrecked shop? Like any firsthand accounts of that, like in history books, like textbooks that we would have read about when we were in school?
Oh yeah,
or like
absolutely. Like the humans basically used a lot of firepower from a variety of ships to bring that thing down.
like were there any firsthand accounts of like anything weird happening besides the fact that they were wrecking one? Like just or did they just wreck it and it exploded?
That's pretty specific.
Yes. That's why, like, I feel like if I had read something about it, that might stick out. But otherwise, maybe we can put
Yeah.
wire on it to look into like any firsthand accounts. It was a long time ago. That's the only known to us here in this galaxy destruction
I
of
mean,
a conduit.
As far as any accounts you've ever heard or read or anything like that, it seems like they just blew it up.
Okay.
I feel like this just means that we're in a bit more of a time crunch than we originally thought.
Yeah.
If excuse me, what's your name?
Oh, are you sorry? Are you asking the Voxora?
Yeah.
Bolt.
Bolt. If what Bolt said is true, and Damien Ellis has been there for a day or two, I don't think what's left of Damien Ellis is gonna wait much longer before it starts testing things out.
Above
Especially
table,
now that we know. Especially now that they know that we know.
Yeah. Above table or just like player knowledge, are all conduits having to do with the artifacts, or is it just this conduit that is having to do with artifacts? Like that's how they got the power for it.
You don't know anything
We
about.
don't know.
You
Okay,
don't know
cool.
anything about like what the artifacts are being, why
Got
they're
it.
in any way being like related
That's
to
fine.
anything.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if
I
any
don't
of that
think
had
we
been
know how
confirmed.
conduits work, do we?
No, no one does.
No one
Yeah,
does.
no one does. Yeah, so we don't know about that. Yeah.
But if one blew up and no space-eating entity flew out of it and killed everyone in the vicinity, when the humans, maybe it might just be this one that has they built artifacts into it. I don't know. That's such a
Maybe
speculation.
prime conduit specifically. It does. I imagine it needs a lot more power than intergalactic travel. Intergalactic might be a lot more, a lot more juice. But again, I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows.
I mean, building one from scratch, you're going to need a very specific power source because they hypothetically don't know how
Yeah,
the other conduits exist.
we might need to go the espionage route. I think talking to the caretakers might be a bit long, take too much time that we just don't have right now.
Yeah, we're in it now. We're gonna need this conduit null and void, but we're also gonna need to get in. We're gonna need to wipe all information of how it was made.
That's going to be tough, but I suppose I can
Yeah.
talk to Ada about that. I assume that most of the things would be kept on some kind of
We're probably
computer
gonna need a
or
whole
database.
team. We're probably gonna need Ada and Wire and all of Wire's best.
Yeah.
Like this, I don't know if just our crew can do this.
I mean, luckily it's not just our crew. We do have a whole resistance force. I'm sure some of them are working on. I'm sure some are like more talented when it comes to computers and the hardware, while others are more upfront and militant. So I think we should be covered, but that might be a bridge we have to cross when we get there. I think right now we just need to deal with this conduit.
Like you said, there are going to be 3 armies in the area.
Yeah. I feel like it's a bit unfair on them, to be honest. Then we have you as a pilot, so I think we're good.
I'll try my best.
And we have Awakener.
Which, by the way, they also want. So
Good point. Yeah.
extra target on our back.
The cards are completely stacked against everything in our favor. Could not be a better situation.
I mean, that's usually how we roll.
Sounds very fun.
That's a word for it.
You get used to it.
Alma looks up at kind of like where the big double doors are, and she says, I don't know about any of you, but I don't think we can afford to wait for whatever it is they're doing.
We have to
No.
go.
We have to go. Bolt, could
Yes.
you let them know? Peach is going to be here anyway. She'll help as well. But could you let them know that we're going to do the whole Pram conduit and the Commonwealth and Ascendancy all congregation at the same place around that conduit kind of situation? I feel like they'll understand that is important.
I am not a messenger, but I suppose I can inform the council of the urgency of this matter.
We'll
Thank
leave
you.
some contact info in case they need to get in touch. Like, we'll feed them info. They feed us info. It'll be great. Symbiotic will be fine.
Patch turns to look at CT and just goes, besides, we will have an envoy of our own aboard, will we not?
Yes. It would be impolite if not to include myself and as to be included upon this venture.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We wouldn't want to offend any sensibilities. We'll turn to Bolt and be like, we do require CT services, just in case that wasn't clear. We'll avoid over. So he's coming with us.
Bolt just
And
is just
so are
sort of,
they. And I pointed Patch.
Bolt is just sort of looking between all of you, and
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
He turns and looks up at the doors, like clearly hoping that they will open at any moment, and and the council will come back and he won't have to deal with this. But as he turns back, he just says, "Go before. If you're going to go, you should probably do it before the council comes back and has other things to say."
Sounds good.
We'll be in touch. And Vina's gonna turn on her heel and start walking.
CT is gonna slap Bolt on the back and like the very unvoxor kind of way and walk out.
Mason's just gonna go as if he's gonna tip his hat and realize it's not there and just like, ah, damn it. And then just kind of walk off and follow everyone else.
The comment muttered as you leave that probably none of you hear is just organics. And
Damn right.
all right. So y'all make your way back to Awakener. And you start loading up. Bina, you slide into the passenger seat or into the pilot seat and
Well, I was like, yeah, I'm fine with that too.
yeah, no, pilot seat is what I was trying to say. And yeah, Alma sits in the co-pilot's chair and she looks out and says, "You know, under other circumstances, I would have loved to learn absolutely everything about all of this. It's not every day you get to interact with an extragalactic species."
Yeah. Well, don't tell him I said this, but I do think CT is warming up to us, and I start going into launching protocol.
All right.
Maybe eventually he'll let you pick his brain.
Hopefully. Because let me tell you, it has taken every ounce of my self-control not to just be constantly barraging him with questions.
Maybe one every once in a while wouldn't hurt anything.
That makes sense. Just sort of
Spacing out is good.
ease him into it and you know, sort of weaken the walls over time.
The barrier of friendship. Yes.
Yeah. And as you finish running checks, actually, as you start running your checks, Alma just sort of reaches over and just says, maybe we forego the pre-flight checks just this once.
You know what? Yeah, let's go. And flip some switches. turn off the check, flip the other switches, and we.
Yeah. And Awakener just very
We're
suddenly,
dipping.
just launches. You can see sort of through some of the exterior like views, you can see as the Voxora guard sort of turn in your direction as Awakener just very suddenly lifts off and makes for
Bad
atmosphere.
etiquette. It's really bad etiquette to just jump straight from nothing into. But you know, we got places to be. It's fine.
Awakener's pretty well maintained. I think she can take it. Just this one time.
Mhm.
So with that, Awakener launches back into the atmosphere, out into space, and you turn her nose towards the nearest conduit. So
This is so above our heads. I can't wait.
So as you jump to FTL, with sort of destination for the conduit set in place, y'all have a little bit of time to plan and prepare while you're in transit. So, let me go ahead and bring up
To the observation deck.
to the observation deck. Yeah, the it's effectively the planning room these days. So as you all gather in the observation deck, the whole crew of Awakener gathered there. Abriel just sort of leans forward and just goes, "So, what's the plan?"
It's the million credit question, isn't it? Gotta sneak. We can't. I said that earlier. We can't just brute force our way through. We won't make it. Does anyone have any ideas?
I mean, we're gonna have to find a way to probably get on the conduit, right? Or at the very least, the research station. You called it Arc 2?
Arc 1.
1. Is that the conduit itself, or is it just nearby?
I think the conduit is at the Arc 1 facility. The Arc 1 research station is the entire research complex, I think.
The research station might be a place to start. I don't think why I said they have a team doing recon right now, but I don't think they'll be able to get close enough to find any openings or ways to sneak on. But we might get a blueprint or something if we do get onto the Arc 1.
Ada just sort of like steeples her fingers and frowns and just says, I don't know. I think there's not going to be very much margin for error on this one. We might have to split into teams again. And any team that goes to look for blueprints or things can feed info to any sort of tactical team. I do think that having the Commonwealth and Ascendancy fleets there actually might provide a somewhat of a tactical advantage for us. They're going to be occupied with each other. They're not going to be paying attention to us. Gives us a little bit of cover.
I still think we have to be a bit careful. It does seem like, at the very least, from what the Ascendancy are saying, they're aware of some kind of tech, and the Awakener is going to look like new tech, at the very least to them. So if they do catch a glimpse of us, they might be another target on our backs.
Ada kind of points to like the info, like the info that Wire sent that was like just sort of reports of fleet movements. I don't think so. Look at the size of these fleets and these movements. You don't send something like that for just some unknown tech. There's no way they don't know what they're going after.
It's a good point. Probably keeping it secret from the public, because I'm not entirely sure how that would go down with the public.
Yeah. Plus, if the caretakers don't know about this already, probably in their best interest to keep it that way.
Yeah. Do we want the caretakers to know about this?
Maybe.
We probably won't be able to talk to them ourselves. Again, we don't have much time, but
We have
a
allies
plan
on
B, we can. Do you think we can broadcast it?
If we broadcast it and we get so many people involved, it might cause issues with parties involved that we're trying to avoid, and we'll just float in unbeknownst.
And at the very least, it would, even if the public can't do anything, it would at least cause some kind of unrest with the people in power. And hopefully the caretakers find out about it. They seem to find a way into people's houses all the time anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if they find themselves in front of a screen that displays it. And maybe, I don't know, like the Voxora said, that this hasn't happened. We don't know what the caretaker's reaction to this would be, but it might be something helpful.
I mean, even just getting more people to know, because obviously you don't want anyone to know about what's happening.
Yeah.
And that would at least make them scramble for PR, which would maybe put something at least partially on hold for a second. It would at least take put attention onto something very specific for a little while. Can we leak that information that fast? We probably need visual proof. If we can get eyes on it,
I mean, Wire said
send
that
it
they
back
have
to
recon.
Wire. Yeah. If someone can get some footage,
And Ada, do you think you can patch it in and get to as many screens as possible?
I can try. I mean,
Between you and Wire, maybe?
the problem isn't getting it sent. The problem is going to be mm, it being received anywhere where it can make any kind of difference. That's something that's going to be harder to do. I can broadcast on wide frequencies, but otherwise there's no guarantee that it's going to be received from on. If I had more time, maybe, but I don't know.
We have allies on Sulon. Do you think they could be extra pair of hands or extra set of terminals to also help put this wherever they can? Ada, you show me all of your programming all the time, and I'll be honest, it just goes over my head. I just like watching you work. So I'm not entirely sure how exactly it works, but would more hands make it more possible?
Maybe. The reality is, we can probably find some way of getting the signal sent. Yes, but I'm not sure what good that will do us.
I mean,
It's just a distraction. That's all it would be.
and hopefully a way to get the caretakers to notice as well, because clearly they don't want them to notice, and anything that they don't want, we most likely want.
Maybe even build some corporate resentment amongst the public. I don't know. That would just be an added bonus. I mean, I don't know what it would do, but it would maybe just bother them enough to give us a little bit more of a break.
I suppose I can send something, but we have to be careful here, because it's bad enough that exists. I think we have to really be careful as to what the implications are if it gets out that not only can these things be made, but that somebody made one. It'll cause chaos, that's for sure, but is it going to be chaos that's going to help us, or will it be long-term, lasting chaos?
If we might be ending up with more than just 3 armies and 3 players if we reveal that there is a somewhat false prime conduit out there. There are other, well, maybe not on the same level of power of the Ascendancy and the Commonwealth, that would want something like that.
It's the kind of thing that would divide the galaxy for centuries.
If there was a power to create something of a similar caliber in the hands of organic beings, then everyone would stop at nothing to attempt to replicate the results.
Then instead of broadcasting it wide, could we, Bina made a point that we have allies on Sulon and there are caretakers there. Could we broadcast it to, or send it to someone on Sulon to just specifically show it to any caretaker? They seem to know and communicate in ways that we're not entirely sure of. If at least one knows, maybe the others will eventually. Again, it might not help with this problem we have right now, but it could help later on, and it's
I feel
better
like
than
they
nothing.
should know,
Yeah.
just in general. I feel like of anyone, they have a right to know.
Alma leans in and just says, what if... I mean, Sulon's on the way, and I sort of feel like
Oh, it is.
maybe I agree with Taeon that it's probably a good idea for the caretakers to know something about this, but maybe we just deliver it to them personally.
I forgot it was on the way. That makes much more
Yeah,
sense.
I actually didn't notice
Yeah.
that. Yes.
forgot
That
we
is
were
much more
still in-
kind than what I assumed you were about to say in that maybe suggesting kidnapping a caretaker or something of that.
Oh
No,
no,
Take
I don't
no.
think we're no.
No, I.
Yeah, no, let's go tell him. Well, yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna. Do I have to go up to the
Well,
bridge to
technically, right
change
now,
our course?
course is set for the conduit, so you can just from that
once we
conduit.
get to
Yeah,
the
once you get to
conduit,
conduit, you can.
to Sulan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we do that. That's the plan.
Great.
If anything, it gives us time if we need anything, if we need to stock up on anything. I don't know if we have the firepower with just us. A legacy ship took out a conduit, and it took a lot.
Several legacy ships.
Several legacy ships took out a
Yeah.
conduit. I don't know if our extra galactic ship has the power for that.
Hopefully we
We're
can,
speed, we're fast.
which
we're
might
not
be why
strong.
Ada has a good point that we might be split in teams. Someone takes an Arc 1 and finds hopefully blueprints, while another one triggers a weight inside, and we can just poke at the delicate parts instead of having to blast through the shell.
We have Awakener. We have one shuttlecraft that I don't know if will be useful. We have Euphoria, which I also don't know will be useful. We have allies on Sulan potential. Maybe we'll get some information out of them, or maybe some of them will want to come with us. I don't know. We have to get there.
And YS dispatched some recon
Yeah,
around the
recon.
conduit, so
Yeah.
we could probably, in fact, on the way, we should probably reach out to them to see if they've seen anything yet.
Yeah, yes. We have our resistance people, but most of them are off doing their own things. Worst case scenario is we get Scrapyard Squadron, but I don't want to put them in harm's way like that.
Yeah.
I don't
Also-
want to put
Yeah.
them up against an army. That's
Just
too big.
so that we are clear here. Right now, all of this, everything that you're talking about, is taking place on the total opposite side of the sector.
I know
from where
they're on the.
Yeah.
I know they're on. They're on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
side.
yeah.
Yeah, they're on the next to the bottom
Yeah.
left quadrant, and we're next to the top right quadrant.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
Mason's just like, it feels more and more like a team will have to go inside and strategically hit
Mhm.
different parts, the weaknesses, and then
Which we don't
get
know
out
what they are yet.
until we do. But it feels like this is where it's heading
Yeah.
Yeah.
until we get more information, I guess.
I've made a craft invisible once before, but Awakener's pretty big. I don't know if I'd be able to cloak our whole thing, but I could try if it was a last minute resort. We can save that as something to be explored later.
Abriel just says, "Don't ask me how I know this, but Sulan has a bit of a black market. Could I know a couple people might be able to hook us up with some kind of tech. Not sure what. At the very least, I know I can get us some. Some of them could probably get us some charges of some kind that we could use to place strategically inside. But anything else, not sure. That'll be. I'm no tech specialist, so I couldn't tell you what else we might be able to use, or what they could even get us on short notice.
How long would it take to install cloaking tech on Awakener?
Are you asking me, the GM?
Yes.
Okay. That depends on what
'Cause
kind of
being a-
cloaking tech.
Yeah.
That depends on the kind of cloaking tech.
'Cause the stuff that's on Euphoria, I don't think would be useful here.
No.
Because that just changes make it look like
No,
a
and that-
dingy ship.
That would take a lot longer because you'd have to install all of the
Install all the panels.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like a Klingon style cloak.
yeah.
Hmm.
Romulan, am I thinking
So-
of the wrong one? I don't know.
Either.
That style.
Yeah. That would be probably not the most difficult thing to install, but it would that would probably be extremely rare, extremely expensive.
We just got a lot of money from a excursion in which our boss died, but we did get paid. We were told. We were told we were
True.
going
You
to
also,
get paid. So
in fairness, you also have your winnings from the.
we also have the.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. I won a lot of money. So I mean, hey, if we're gonna put that towards anything,
Yeah, you theoretically could. That said,
I'll
I will.
try.
I will also
I would want to
say.
try to look into it.
I will also say, like Awakener does already have sort of like a silent running mode.
Quiet running mode.
Yeah.
But that's like sensor pickup.
Sure, but like
all-
space is big and dark.
I'm more worried about like how do we get close to the conduit without anyone seeing?
Yeah,
If someone's nearby.
Again,
Like we're a
space is
big
big
ship.
and dark.
But like, is someone there working? If there's people at the conduit, like they're gonna see us if we show up at the conduit. Like
Conduit's big too. I mean, like I'm just saying, like the reality of the situation is that approach might be like maybe, but you like I think it's really hard to spot something, even a ship, like by just looking out a window into space. That's hard to do.
all right.
I'm gonna say
So
that
we have a teleporter.
True. That's true too.
Yes, I was gonna say I'm imagining everything a lot more close quarter. Now that it's more spread out in my mind, this is a lot more doable.
I was envisioning like, what if there are there's a protection?
Yeah.
What if they have ships, like a bunch of ships protecting the conduit? Like that's what I was like. We don't know what they've got going on.
But I know how we
was
can
what I
find
was
that out.
picturing. Yeah.
How recently had Wire? Because I know Wire said they've already dispatched a recon team. Do we have any updates from that yet?
So
Like, are they there? Have they been there for a while?
The answer to that question is that basically, like, Wire did not dispatch a recon team. There was a team already in the field that she rerouted to that.
Oh,
So
okay,
like they're
okay.
like on their way.
On their way. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have any details on how close? Like, would we get there before they do, or
No,
would they
definitely.
get there
You definitely
before
won't. They will definitely get there first.
Okay, get them first. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Then yeah, Ten will just be like basically eyes glued to the town and waiting for some kind of call to come from them.
Yeah. Well, so basically, here's information that Wire probably would have passed to you after the fact, after her initial contact, which is that like that field is running recon. That team is running recon in the field and are on sort of like radio silence to the point where like they don't want to be picked up essentially. So
Okay,
long
that makes
range
sense,
communications probably out of the question. You probably won't receive any kind of communication from them until you're closer.
There.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So
Okay.
right now they are strictly just observing and waiting for you to arrive.
Okay. So I guess it's just too soon on then.
Move on.
And we're
Step
not going to
one.
have any visuals, but we can at the very least tell them. I feel like if above game, what do we know about? I mean, we don't know much about caretakers, but what do we know about caretakers? Like, do we know, or have at least, do people feel like that they communicate with each other in some way?
Oh, they
Peach
definitely
has had
do. Yeah.
a very intimate
definitely do.
interaction with with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then yeah. So
Did she
Tony's
try to
like-
read their mind or something like that?
She
And then
did. It was
like,
really.
got knocked
It was.
out.
Yeah. It was. It was
Yeah.
really bad.
no. Oh yeah, I forgot about
'cause,
that. Yeah.
it's essentially a hive
Not
mind
good.
that she attempted to read, and
Yeah.
that's overwhelming for
Oh,
somebody
okay,
not
that's
used to.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
When you were like,
perfect.
"Oh, maybe we could tell one," I'm like, "Oh yeah." As soon as one knows, all of them will know.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, yeah. Because if we tell one, okay, this has happened before. This Figment or whatever this creature, a Figment-like creature, which means that caretakers from other galaxies, if there are anything similar to caretakers, know what these things do. So we
Hypothetically.
might not even need visual evidence. I think just the mention of it would at very least make them worry.
if we can communicate with them.
Yeah.
We'll
We
just
can
do
figure
our
that
best, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
And give yourselves more credit. The caretakers are more perceptive than you would likely believe.
Honestly, I don't doubt that.
I just
Mhm.
my worry is that they're just gonna give us the time of day. I don't know. It'll be fine. It'll be good. We have step 1, Sulan. Step 2, caretakers. Step 3, and she looks at April. Black market.
And step 4, conduit.
Step
Or
4 and
up
beyond.
1.
TBD.
Yeah, to be determined.
We'll find. Yeah.
Vix just gets this huge grin on his face. He's like, "Oh, we're improvising. Good, yeah."
Oh, did any of this sound like we knew what we were talking about?
Oh no, I meant no. This is very clear that we were improvising. I have no idea what we're doing. I just meant the plan is improvising.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Great, I'm
Yeah.
for it. I'm
100%.
into it.
Because I think a lot of step 4 and beyond will depend on how it goes with the caretakers. Because I mean, not to throw other options into here, but or other outcomes into this pot, but there's a chance that the caretakers would want to defend a conduit. So like, who knows? We don't know.
Ooh,
We don't know
that's a
until we
good
talk
point.
to them. So we might be like, hey, there's a conduit and it's fake. We want to destroy it. They might be like, actually, fuck you. So I don't know. I've never had a conversation with one. I don't know what their priorities are going to be. So I think maybe we should think of that as also this could go very poorly. But I do think it should also be the first thing we do. So
Good. Yep, that's very reassuring.
yeah.
If we fail on step 1, then that is better than failing on step 4.
Is it?
That's why we
though?
don't plan the rest of it. Yeah, that's why we don't plan the rest of it, because then if step 1 fails, then we just start over and it's not a big deal. We've barely begun.
Great. Yeah. Sure. I mean, you don't have to
Have
convince
some
me.
optimism, please.
I will never do that, but you don't have to convince me. I'm here. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, this is all. There are just a lot of ways this could go very wrong. So I'm just excited to get to talk to a caretaker. So
Well,
I think time for coffee, right? Anyone want coffee?
I think I'm
Yes.
gonna sleep.
that's kind of what I was gonna say. I'd prefer to
you
be less conscious, actually, for a while.
understandable. How far until conduit, and how long of a jump is it? Like from here to Sulan, how long is it gonna take?
In total, it'll be like conduit jump included. It'll probably be about a day.
Cool.
So
Yeah, so you got the day.
Yeah.
Everybody chill, come up with other things if anyone has anything they want to like build or alter or whatever. Like we got time.
Yeah. And I actually think that this is where we're going to take our break, because
Yes.
this is just like for the first time
Perfect.
ever on time to the break.
Wow. Wow.
And very organic too.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah.
We're all gonna go take a break, and then also in real life we're gonna go take a break.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a break. We will be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you very soon. Welcome back, everybody. We are back from our break. I don't know why I said that so dramatically. I think it was just a
Dramatic episode.
yeah.
We're back in a world.
In
We
a
came
world.
back from our break.
Good. Yes. Excellent. Well, when we left off, plans were being made to travel to the prime conduit and the site of what is clearly going to be a battle of galactic scale. But first, a quick stop off at Sulan to talk to some caretakers. So, before we get there, though, y'all have like a day of transit, and you'll also have like more time on the other side of Sulan for travel. But like at this particular time, is there anything any of y'all want to do?
Oh. Yes. Because things are moving very fast, so Taylor hasn't had time to really process. But I think he's going to be talking to Ada about me and his mom, and how that was an emotional experience for him. So yeah, I think they're in their like room, their quarters, and I just Taylor's kind of like sitting cross-legged on the ground, like just kind of watching Ada working on the terminal.
Mhm.
Hey,
Hmm?
I was gonna ask, are you busy? But we are going into what could be a galactic war, so you probably are. But do you mind if I just talk, and you work and listen?
Sure, of course. She says, and actually, and you watch she just splits, and like one like she moves to get up out of the chair, but she also doesn't leave the chair. And as she
Yeah.
stands up and walks over to you, the other Ada stays behind at the terminal and is just still like typing away. And she comes and sits cross-legged on the floor in front of you and just puts her elbows on her knees and just
I don't know why I forget you do that when that's one of the coolest things you can do. And then kind of like his smile kind of like fades. On the Bellerophon, a lot happened. I mean, I told you most of it. But I also saw my mother.
oh,
Yeah.
how was that?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure. So much was happening. I don't think I had much time to actually figure out how it felt. I mean, I panicked, which was embarrassing. And then ran away, which was also embarrassing. Bino noticed that I was acting weird, which is another level of embarrassing. I haven't seen her in over a decade. I kind of wish that I didn't run away and had spent more time with her, because I don't think I'll get the chance to again.
Yeah. That's hard.
You would have liked her. It would have been nice if you could have met her. Honestly, I think she would have liked you more than she likes me. And honestly, I wouldn't blame her.
I am pretty great.
Yeah. When we went into the tatters, when everyone was getting evacuated, and I thought she was too, I was relieved and glad, but then found out that she wasn't, and she was going in there with us. And is it bad that I should protect everyone regardless of whether or not they're related to me? I should put my 100% into that. But finding out my mother was still on the ship, I realized that at the very least I'd been putting in 90% for everyone else, and only really the 100 came when I knew she was in danger. Is that bad?
I think it's just part of being. I mean, none of us are without our connections to other people.
Is it bad that I want to find her again?
No, I don't think it is.
I just feel, I don't know, guilty. The people who don't get this chance, and I feel like I feel like it's wrong of me to try to exploit this chance to talk to her, to see her, and my dad as well. they're together. So it couldn't have been more than a month ago before they made it official. So I could see him too. I don't know if I should.
Well, I don't think anybody can tell you what the right thing is. I mean, I don't know. Really, I don't. But the thing that I think is the thing that I do know, whether or not you decide it's the right thing to do, or you always have the right to feel however you feel. And you're not better or worse for feeling the things that you do. I mean, it's completely understandable that you'd want to go and find her, and I think on some level everyone who's lost someone important to them wishes that they could have them back, even if it was just for another moment. And the hard thing is that for you, that is, you get to. And now it's not fair that that you have to decide whether it's the right thing to do or not. That's not fair. That's hard. But you're not wrong for feeling the way that you do.
It just took everything in me not to warn her. To warn her of what is going to happen. I don't know. I've already messed with time, and we ended up getting Peach and Mason in trouble in a whole different timeline. A whole timelines because of me messing with time suffered, and now all I want to do is save my mom and my dad. And now I have it on my conscience that if I do, I could again ruin whole timelines. I'll be honest, I was hoping you would say, no, Taeyeon, you shouldn't be feeling this, and you shouldn't see them, because it would make it so much easier. Because at least then I don't have a choice. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. Sorry. I'll think and see what's best for the timeline, I suppose.
Sometimes even sometimes you just have to do what's right for you. She stands up, and she just holds out her hand to you. Come here.
He takes it.
And she
Stands
pulls
up.
you up, and she pulls you over to the bed. She says, "Lay down. Just lay down."
Okay. He lays down in bed.
And she kind of crawls in behind you, and then just wraps her arms around you from behind, and just sort of holds you there for a while.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a thing where he's pretty sure he's not going to fall asleep, and he just kind of like lies there, but he just immediately passes out.
Um. Anybody else doing anything?
After that, I don't know. I don't know that I can.
Not anything specific, probably just like walking around and do, even though it's not his job anymore, still doing like the kind of brief check-ins with everybody on Awakener to see if they like need anything or are okay. Just shifting from one crew to a different one
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Mason's probably in his room, sitting on his bed, and I don't know if probably has the door open just to like have some airflow.
Mhm.
Not that actually is a thing on a ship, but Mason has the door open. Is just kind of hanging out, and yeah.
At some point while you're just sort of sitting there, you hear footsteps kind of in the corridor, and as you look up, you can see Abriel just sort of knocks on the door frame.
Oh, hello.
I started thinking that I could use one of these, and she reaches into like the satchel at her side and pulls out a bottle. She says, and then I started thinking, I bet you could use it too. So
Yeah, I really could.
good, because I wasn't about to take no for an answer. And she walks in and sits down and just unstoppers the bottle and starts pouring, closes it, and then just how did everything get so fucked up?
At what point?
Yeah, I guess. Dealer's choice.
Yeah, I know.
And she
And yet,
she just drains the cup and sets it back down.
I drained as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't really feel it the same way I would before the powers. My body just like Mason makes a weird slurping noise.
She goes, I think that's the technical medical term for that, yeah.
Well,
Trust
you
me.
would know.
Yeah, I'm a doctor.
As messed up as everything is, I don't know, with the knowledge I have, if I would want to be anywhere else.
That's almost more fucked up. You understand that, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I do, but
No, I
know it's fucked up. But
no, I understand.
what was I doing before all this? I'd gotten off Krenai, thought I knew what I was doing. Got booted back onto Krenai. And as a private eye, I was snooping in places that employers paid me to get information about things they already knew about in their heart. They just need a picture. They just need to be written down on a piece of fucking paper. I don't recognize that man.
Well, if it's any consolation, I have no idea how you did what you did back then. That's seeing some of the worst sides of people there is to see. I don't know how you dealt with it.
No sleep and a lot of whiskey.
Oh, so a lot like being a doctor, I guess. And she just takes another sip, sets it down.
Yeah, how many you had to go to a lot of training. You probably didn't get sleep at all.
No. When I couldn't manage, when I was either too busy to manage sleep, or guilty conscience, I guess. I think on some level I always knew what the corpse were. But it didn't really seem like another option, you know? And then once they bought my sister's debt, these people are like, these corpse, they're a prison. They're worse than a prison. They're parasites on the galaxy. They'll drain up everything that there is and leave nothing behind. Nothing except bodies. And the thing is, you don't even have to be doing what we're doing to see that. Because I knew it back then. Yeah. I think I agree with you. I'd rather be here.
Mason just pours a couple more drinks and yeah, here and together.
She just sort of looks at you and just smirks and says, "Yeah, together, unless, you know, you manage to finally get yourself blown apart someday."
I wonder if parts of me would grow back. Like if I lost my arm, would it grow back? Did my blood work say any of it?
I am firmly caught between just horror at that idea and just the worst kind of professional curiosity.
I'm curious too, but I suppose I don't want to find out.
Yeah, I'd rather not. I'm good, but I'm not that good. If it doesn't work, I cannot guarantee that I can stitch you back together.
I'll do my best. I'll fly out of the way, or I'll grow a really hard, like carapace-like skin or something to deflect an explosion or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I so far into it, I still am learning things about my abilities every day.
Yeah. Well, whenever you want to learn some more, say the word and I'll run whatever tests you want me to run. Safely, and preferably with minimal risk of permanent dismemberment. Minimal.
That would be nice. Thanks for bugging me.
Yeah, well, like I said, sleep never came easy to me.
Mason just kind of holds out his hand and kind of like holds her hand.
Mm-hmm. She like sort of is startled for a moment and then looks down, then looks up at you.
I just kind of squeeze it and I'm like, I'm glad you're here. Really.
She just doesn't say anything. She just drains the rest of what she's drinking. She doesn't say anything else for the rest of the time that you're there. But she doesn't take her hand back either.
Pretending to sip so long, I had to take a real sip. Sorry.
All right. So, unless there's anything else anybody else wants to do in transit here, I think we can kind of cut ahead to Sulan.
Yeah, Bina just naps in the
Just-
pilot
yeah.
seat. Like that's all I've got going
Yeah,
on.
I will say the only thing is that at some point in between naps, at one point being like sometimes like in between naps, sometimes Alma is there in the co-pilot seat. Sometimes she's not, but one of the times Bina wakes up and there's just sort of like a blanket just sort of draped over her.
I wrap up with it. I wrap up like a little burrito in it.
All right. So, we'll cut to the end of the journey as you arrive at Sulan, where you can see the large solitary asteroid up ahead of you. Several of the with some of its kind of protruding structures, and surrounded by ships. Although, as you're looking at it, you see that there's probably fewer than there normally are around Sulan. But it might just be a slow traffic day. But as you approach, you go through all of the you prepare for all of the standard docking procedures, but when you're contacted, they just sort of wave you through, and provide you coordinates towards a not the diplomatic suite this time, but one kind of you don't have to land in like the weird seedy side of Cargo Town. not the like kind of seedy cargo space that you've used before when coming to Sulan. And before long, you find that you have landed within Sulan. So, also before I move on too far, friends who roll dice, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome everybody. So, having landed, you all reconvene once again, and Vix leans forward and says, "So, how exactly are we contacting caretakers? Are we just gonna go wandering around in the bowels of the city for hours, or?"
We've encountered caretakers in the market, and I believe Peach encountered them in like the underbelly of the city, underground. So that's all I've got as far as a starting point.
I will say you've also seen them. You've kind of seen them everywhere. Like you've also seen them at in the capital. So like you've
we could just start walking.
yeah.
Like,
Just
that's
start
like
walking.
all I've got. Like that's like my plan. That was my plan.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It really doesn't take you long to find any, because as it turns out, there's quite a few of them in the vicinity of the starport. You can see a few of them just sort of rushing around the place on whatever business they happen to be on. The mysterious ways of the caretakers.
Okay, so I guess, does anyone have any pre-thoughts before we try to do this? Do we want to split and someone go try to get, I don't know, find us some under the table stuff and some of us try to do this, or do we all want to keep it all together for all of it?
I mean, April said that she knows the person who could hit us up with some charges. So I don't know how much help having extra hands would be. And Jonas looks to April. Do you need any help with that?
Sure, wouldn't probably be a bad idea to at least look like I've got some muscle with me.
And perhaps those that are aware of weaponry would be most useful to ascertain the validity of any items retrieved.
Yeah.
No one knows weapons like me, so I'll gladly escort you, April, if you don't mind.
Great. I feel very good about this. Very confident.
For some reason, I don't think that's true, despite the words you're saying. But I'm just gonna skim over that.
Great. Um,
Anyone else have preference of teams here, like where they want to go? I feel like I'd be most useful with caretakers,
Mhm.
but
I have absolutely no mind for weaponry whatsoever.
all right, you can come with us.
I'll go with you, Taeon.
Okay.
all right. So,
Splitting up the party.
Love it. We love it.
all right. I think we'll actually start with Bina CT. I think we'll start there. As you look around and you can see there are quite a few of the insectoid biomechanoid insect species walking around. As you look at them, the thing is, the weird thing about caretakers is that you always seem to forget how actually large they are whenever you haven't seen them for a while. Like they stand probably roughly about like maybe 6 feet tall, give or take, and that's just from like
Ground
yeah,
up.
ground up. So like they have sort of these like ant-like bodies. The kind of the is it the thorax, of which is sort of like upright, whereas like and the abdomen is sort of parallel to the ground. Walking
Oh my
on
god, are they like ant centaurs?
yeah, kind of. They walk on four legs with like the two forelimbs, with the kind of articulating digits that they use to do their work, with all kinds of cabling and cybernetics that sort of run across their bodies. Their heads, however, are much more mantis-like, with that sort of oblong, sort of much larger eyes and pincers, sort of like the kind of mandibles, kind of kept in tighter. And the moment you begin approaching one of them, its head just turns and looks directly at you, still working on whatever it's doing, like fingers fully inside of a like control panel, just sort of messing with the wiring, just sort of looks directly at both of you.
Oh, I think we'll probably get close enough to have like conversations. We're not like shouting across this like partially public space or anything, and being able to just be like, "Hi, my name's Bina Oba. This is my friend CT, and we have some information regarding conduits that we think maybe would be. I think we're asking for help is what's happening here, but we also wanted to share some information that there is I guess just cut right to the chase. We have evidence of the existence of an artificial conduit, and
Oh, go ahead.
I don't think that that's a good thing for anybody. And we are wondering if you could help us. And that's her pitch.
Yeah. The caretaker doesn't stop working on what it's doing, but you can hear just sort of like you can see the mandibles twitch and click, and you can hear sort of like a thrumming sound coming from deep within the like the thorax of this creature. As they continue to just sort of stare at you, head sort of tilting very slightly.
I think I've tried before, but I don't get like emotions off of them. Like I get like unrecognizable.
Yeah, it's it's like stuff that you recognize. It would be like recognizing something as like maybe a language, but maybe not. Like it's
Mhm.
like the way that you sense emotions from these beings is in a way that is so so
Untranslatable
completely
to me,
alien
yeah.
that it was like
Mhm.
yeah, fully.
I couldn't remember if I had tried. I probably
I
have
think
tried it
yeah,
before,
I
but I
think
couldn't
that
remember.
is
Yeah.
definitely something that you've done, but yeah, no, it's just fully untranslatable. Like it's completely alien. Far more so than the Voxora. Um there's
Like as the silence stretches,
oh
Bina
yeah.
kind of goes like, and Bina kind of just goes like, and I'm only, I'm not just assuming that, you can all anyone is equivalent to anyone. I'm only just we just whoever we found first, because I know that there's sort of a maybe like a hive mind connection thing going on, and we figured one of you could point us in the right direction. Um, I'm not making any assumptions about you as a person. Just like that kind
Yeah.
of like
You just you
as the silence
yeah,
stretches.
you hear a voice from nearby just say, "That is very astute of you." And as you turn, you see a human, probably in their maybe 40s or so. Short hair, sort of very well coiffed. Starting to gray a little bit with sort of lines, like smile lines that are kind of deeply etched into their face. Um, they walk forward towards you, and as they do so, Bina, you sense the same thing coming from this individual as you did from the caretaker. And as you look closely, you can see that they're like when you look at them, like their eyes are just completely fully black. Um, and as they step up to you, they smile politely and just say, "Welcome back to Sulan. I
Thank you.
am
Thank you.
I have been authorized by the Sulan Hive to treat with them or to treat with you on their behalf."
Oh, hi, I'm Bina Oba. This is CT.
Yes,
It's nice to meet you.
we remember you.
That's right. I did just introduce myself. What should we call you?
For now, I am. You can refer to this one as an embodiment of the hive which inhabits it. Therefore, you may refer to the hive and therefore this individual as Sulan.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That checks out. That's pretty easy to remember.
Very
actually.
interesting.
And as just like above table, like this is what I recognize this as someone who is being
Yeah,
influenced by the hive.
this definitely, yeah. There are occasional. Sulan is one of the only places where well, that's not true. It's just one of the only places where beings like this one who have been joined to the hive are sort of regularly accepted as part of everyday life. In other in on on conduits, this has been the fate of those who have boarded conduits and have been too stubborn to leave when politely
Provoked
rebuffed.
too.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
politely rebuffed by the caretakers. This has kind of been what happens to them. They just sort of end
Do
up.
people do that on purpose? Like,
Probably there's probably been
oh,
people
that's
that have
cool.
done that. Yeah. There have
Weird.
in fact in early days when first contacts were made with hives on conduits, it was probably an attempt to get inside information from the hive through the use of individuals who essentially volunteered to be joined to the hive, only to find that when joined to the hive, their priorities shifted to that of the hive.
I'm having really weird world building thoughts. We'll talk after the game.
Yeah. So yeah, this is something that you might have like maybe not interacted with any directly, but you've definitely seen them and you know of them.
No, of
Yeah.
them, yeah.
Yeah, it's very rare when a hive chooses to speak directly to individuals.
Well, then it is good to meet you, Sulan, as it is much easier to converse with another creature that speaks our same language.
We believed that this matter was important enough that such was required.
Do we talk here, or would you rather not? And I kind of like look around for people who are not us in
Yeah.
this area. Like,
An office has been made available for us in the Port Authority.
oh, okay.
And they turn
Cool.
and start walking towards where you can see like the offices of the starport are.
I follow. I'm so excited.
Let's
This is
go.
so great. This is
Yeah.
since the first time we were on Sulan, all Bina has wanted to do is talk to caretakers. Also, this is a Caitlin thing. Like, and now we're back on Sulan talking to caretakers. Okay, sorry, continue.
So with that, I think we're gonna cut over to Taeon, Mason, and Abriel. We're gonna cut over to sort of a pretty seedy bar, where as you're all the three of you have followed Abriel here across town, and upon arriving, Abriel sort of disappeared. Like she sort of said, "Wait here," and just disappeared into the crowd for a little bit. And after a little while, came back and led you all over to a table where, as the three of you are sitting down, there is an individual human with. You can see that she has she's wearing a thick hooded jacket, but underneath the hood you can see the very clear signs of cybernetic enhancement, like just a fully cybernetic jaw. As well as you can see from underneath, there is like a single gleaming red light from where her left eye would be, and she just sort of sits leaning hunched over a tankard on the table. And Abriel just says, "We're looking to make some purchases off the grid." The individual looks up very slightly and just says, "Might be able to help you. It's been a while since you've been here." Abriel just crosses her arms and says, "Haven't needed much. Now I do. You gonna help or not?" "What are you looking for?" Abriel looks over to you, Taeon.
We need the biggest, most explosive charges you have.
All right. Think I might be able to help you with that. You have the scratch for it?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
You can see she turns the hooded head to look towards the door, and she puts up a hand, raises two fingers. You can see as the barkeep, who's just sort of cleaning out a glass, nods and then jerks ahead towards the back room, and she says, "Come with me." And she stands up, and walks towards the back room. And
Taylor's gonna like put a hand on April's shoulder. It's probably like a bit of a reach for him still. And just be like, "Do you mind if I go in first?
oh,
I don't know your
insist
friend very
that you
well,
do
but
that.
okay, perfect." And Taylor's gonna head in first just to make sure
Yeah.
nothing sketchy goes on. Well, I mean, nothing sketchy that we're not trying to do anyway.
Nothing sketchier happens. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You step in, and immediately through the door is just sort of a corridor that leads back. You can see where there are like bathrooms to one side. To the other side, you can see where like the doors to the kitchen are. And going further back, you see where the woman is standing next to a door that is clearly marked storage. And as you draw up level with her, she's kind of holding the door open, and inside you can see what is very clearly a storage room. It's maybe a bit bigger than you expected it to be, considering. and there's quite a few people in here, many of whom don't look like they work at the bar. And like as you step in, kind of following her through the door, you round sort of a shelf that is packed fully with supply crates and things like that. And as you round that shelf, you can see as the room sort of opens up just a little bit, and there are people who are clearly browsing, looking at open crates of things. And there's like several people who are standing watching. There are armed individuals who are just sort of heads scanning the room, who mark you as you walk in, um, and she walks over towards one sort of bank of crates, and she says, "You got here just in time. Just about to close up shop for the week."
I just have a quick question. You store all of your explosives in the back of a bar?
No, this is just where we're selling them right now. Is this your first time?
It's my first time here, yes. I'm just...
She looks over at Abriel, who just shrugs, says, "All right, let's make this quick." And she walks over towards a set of open crates where you can see inside just a variety of explosive charges of different sorts, from things from like grenades to placeable charges to liquid explosives, all kinds of stuff. There's just um says, "Take your pick."
Which one is the biggest placeable charge? I think we want to have time to get away from it before it goes off, so that's probably our best.
Probably the
What we were looking for.
that'd probably be the timed thermal charges, right over there. And she points, and you can see where there's about 6 of them in the thing. And as you go over and look at them, you can see that these are relatively high yield, but not particularly like the kind. They create a relatively localized explosion, but powerful enough to like melt through hull plates, through hull plating.
Okay. That might be all we need. Just do enough damage, maybe not an ridiculous explosion. Yeah, we'll have all 6 of these.
She just sort of stares at you, expressionless, but you do see one of the armed individuals just sort of look, and an eyebrow goes up, and then just goes right back to scanning. And she goes, "All 6, huh?"
Yes, and also just in case, what's the biggest non-placeable charge you have? Just in case you want to throw on like gun and run kind of deal.
She walks over to the other side of the crate, and where she reaches and pulls out a box, like a small box, and you can see as she types in a code to it, and it just, and she reaches in and pulls out a pretty advanced-looking grenade, and she says,
Ooh.
"I've only got one of these."
Oh, I have seen this before. Yes, please.
Take that too.
She puts it in the box and closes it. She says, "All right. Altogether, it's gonna run you about 10,000 credits."
Yeah, we have that. I was assuming above game. Do we
Oh
have
yeah,
that?
this is so just
Okay,
just,
so
so
I think
that, just so that we're clear here. We're looking at this is verging on, in terms of Cypher price ranges, exorbitant. So
I'm pretty sure I remember a 30,000 credits gained somewhere. Either was that the win of the race?
it might have been. There was something like that somewhere. Yeah.
Somewhere. So we easily could go.
Yes, 100%. So yeah.
I want to give them a 20% tip as well for their good customer service.
Oh man.
Yeah. She just takes it and just shakes her head and looks at Abriel, and Abriel's just sort of sitting there, just like, yeah.
We want to get
We're
the
nothing
job.
if not good customers.
Exactly.
The woman just sort of crosses her arms and just, "Well, enjoy." And then she looks over towards the rest of the room and just and you see immediately, without any communication that happened, no verbal communication, people just start like packing up crates, just sort of like putting lids on stuff and start. There's just like a scramble as very efficiently crates are packed up and moved, set on hover sleds, and just sort of carted out of back like a loading dock. And she just goes, "Pleasure doing business with you." And word of advice: maybe in the future, try not to might live longer if you don't tip your hand as to how flush you are coming into these places. Just a word of advice.
Oh, I mean, I'm always going to be the best customer I can be, and to be honest, if anyone does try to take the money from me, they would be the one to be in danger. So I think honestly, I'm safe. Well, thank you for the word of warning.
She gives you a look like she's not sure if you're fucking with her. And then just and just follows the rest out as they leave, closing the loading dock door behind them. And Avriel just shakes her head and just says, "I don't know what I expected." And
It went well, didn't it? And he kind of like raises
she grabs your hands and says, "Put those down."
Okay.
We do have to get this back to the ship.
Yeah.
Avriel says, "No problem," and she like pulls off her like doctor's bag that she had over her shoulder and opens it up, and inside you can see that there's nothing in it. It's just completely empty.
Okay, and he's gonna start setting the charges inside there, making sure there's nothing to accidentally trip them.
Yeah.
Tan could just make them immediately in a Awaken or two.
Yeah. But I think even Tails like, I don't know. Some of these
That's
are
fair.
pretty sensitive. I don't know how teleportation will affect them.
All right, so Avriel just, let's just get out of here. And we'll cut back to across the station with Bina and CT. As you find yourselves stepping into one of the Port Authority offices, you can see that there are people working in there, but as soon as they see you all, they kind of look up, and you can see one of them mouth open to like ask a question, then sees the person leading you in here and just, "Oh, my apologies. Everyone, let's take lunch." And you can see like 3 or 4 people in the office glance up and just start packing up. They all vacate the office.
I love this. This is so cool.
Um, as Sulan turns to you, they say, "Well, what is this about the conduit?"
So the corporate entities that exist for their own gain and profit and kind of actually exactly the reason that big ship crashed into Sulan a while back. That guy is kind of running this, has been, as far as we're aware, has been working whatever night and day, I suppose, to bring an artificial conduit into the galaxy. And so him and all of his corporate buddies are doing that. And now the Ascendancy has found out that the Commonwealth made a deal to be in on it. And now everyone knows, all of the war parties. And we don't think that they should have that. And so we came to ask for help. Did I miss anything? And I turned to CT.
It also might be worth mentioning that the creature in control of Damian Ellis and possibly the corporate entities is known as Figment and has been responsible for atrocities towards many galactic races in the past, including the Voxora.
Yes, that too.
We see. Well, this is indeed grave news. they pause for like a very long time, and you get the impression that they're not waiting for you to say anything, that they are just, yeah,
Having a conversation.
and then they sort of look to you and say, I have been, this individual has been given permission to reveal pieces of information about our species for the purposes of your understanding.
Yes.
Yes.
We're good at keeping secrets. We don't have any intention to, cause problems for you.
The Sulon hive is unique amongst other caretaker hives in the galaxy. We are not bound to a conduit like our siblings. In fact, it is even not outside of the realm of possibilities to say that we are more aware, more able to determine our own fates. We chose of our own free will to work with the first human colonists who discovered Sulon. We chose this because we are, for lack of a better term, free. With this comes certain other differences from the other hives, the other colonies. We are free of the mandate to protect the conduits and the travel they offer.
Well, I'm glad we came here then.
The implication of this is that while we are free of that, we also do not have as much power to bring to bear as our sibling colonies. We are without many of the technological advantages that they enjoy. The priority of this hive is the preservation of Sulon and those who reside within it. While we take an interest in such things as the conduit and the doings of the corporate structures, as well as this, you hear a very strange sort of thrumming noise come from the individual themselves. Not unlike that of the caretaker that you first spoke to. And then they frown and say, "We have no word for it in your language." But the one who orchestrates...
But you are aware of it?
We are. We take interest in these things, but it is not our priority. We cannot render the technological advantages of our sibling colonies. However, we recognize that a situation as dire as this we could render some assistance.
It would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, that would be most helpful.
We have no technology to share with you, however, there is knowledge. While we are not bound to a conduit, we carry the memory embedded within us, the knowledge of their workings. Is this something that would be beneficial to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right now, our plan, I guess, is to stop them in whatever capacity, and anything that we could learn about the conduits or whatever you'd be willing to share as a way to, I don't know, if we're going to destroy, dismantle, whatever we want, we don't want them to have it. We don't want anyone to have it. Whatever you could give us in that regard, or if you have a better idea, we're kind of winging it at this point.
There is another long pause. And while you're waiting, the pause after a few minutes is broken as the door to the office opens and you see as two caretakers walk into the room. And the individual kind of comes back into the moment and looks at you and says, "Very well. We cannot part with the information that we have. It is not information that we can give. However, we can accompany you and render assistance."
Yeah, we'd be happy to have you. Not to dissuade in any way, but we're not 100% sure if all of us are gonna make it through this. So just like, so you know what you're getting into. This could be pretty dicey, and we don't want to put you in harm's way if that's not something you're willing to do. So just like, to have that info before you make that decision. But we have room. You're welcome to come with us.
The Hive has reached its decision.
Okay.
We accompany you, for our mandate is to preserve the safety of Sulan and those on it. This situation threatens all.
Yeah.
This is for the good
We,
of the Hive.
we will do our best, very best, to make sure we get you home safely.
They turn and look to the two caretakers who stepped in. Both of them just sort of click and thrum at each other, and then just sort of step to either side of the door.
Okay.
Then there is little time left to waste.
Let's get you settled. And Venus trying to like mentally calculate where we have room on Awakener for some caretakers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll lead
thank
them
you,
back.
Sulan, for everything that you have done.
Yes, thank you.
They incline their head, and as you lead them out, they walk with the two of you, and the two caretakers sort of walk in, kind of fall in behind your group.
This is the best day of my life. This is so cool, Lucas. Yeah, we get them on Awakener. Caitlin has insane curiosity about, is there anyone non-caretakers who see them get on board with us, and what is their reaction?
There are definitely like dock workers who just sort of like watch this and look at each other, but mostly like they don't have too much. Yeah.
Love that. I
If
hope they're haunted by that for the rest of their lives. Not knowing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
If anyone give him like a stink at all, he'll like CT will just be like a wave and like a nod, like yeah, hi.
Hey, hi, how's it going? Yeah, hey, we're good. We're nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here, folks.
This is normal.
This is totally normal.
I'll say a little while later, you all return to Awakener with your new ordnance. And as you're boarding Awakener, right immediately in the hold, Tan, as you're walking in, you just like as you step in, you are immediately face to face with an insectoid face, like directly like looking at you. There's like sort of a mandible click as it just sort of tilts its head and looks at you. And
I thought we weren't kidnapping a caretaker.
I think there's like rack focus shot to Bina like 20 feet in the background, like sitting in a chair, swinging around, eating a snack, being like, they're gonna help us. Like,
Perfect.
Oh, okay. Do they know that we're probably not going to make it out?
Yeah, no. Weirdest day of my life. It's gonna be great. Is a humanoid embodiment coming with us too?
Yeah. No, all three of them are. Yeah. So you see
So
that
this
there's
is Sulan.
there's another caretaker just sort of scuttling around in the background, just sort of picking up various crates, examining them, and then just setting them back. And just
We're getting them used to their new environment.
You may address
Okay.
them as Sulan.
Sulon. All of
Sulon.
you are Sulon.
I didn't actually get are the caretakers also Sulan? Or did they have other designations?
they do not.
Because
They
are
do
not
not
the
have.
voice
Yeah,
through
they
them.
do not
Okay.
have designations.
So yeah, all of them are Sulan, and they're gonna help us because they find this dire as we do. So
Oh god, that's a relief. Okay, I thought
Yeah,
they were gonna
right.
do the whole like protect the core. Ooh.
yeah, they'll maybe Sulan, and I look and then I point to the humanoid Sulan. Maybe we'll share some more too. But it sounds like they're not beholden to the same I guess sort of oath or commitment to preserving conduits as conduit caretakers are. So I think we
Okay.
did a good one by coming here.
So does that mean? And he turns to the humanoid
Mhm.
Sulon. Does that mean if we did go to the other caretaker, they'd most likely protect this new conduit or try to?
It is unclear, as something such as this has. Well,
Never happened before,
it is.
at least in this
It
galaxy.
is our supposition that they would not even acknowledge this conduit other than to attempt to dismantle it themselves.
Oh,
It is not a conduit that they have a particular bond with. It is one that exists outside of the network, and therefore would become a target of the caretakers, the other caretakers, the other hives of the kind. They would seek to dismantle it.
I mean, that's not a bad thing,
Perhaps.
but that can be like a plan for later. Maybe if we destroy what's
That also means other caretakers would not have the assistance and resources that we are providing to Sulan. Additionally,
yeah. I think
Yeah,
we've got a little
good
more
point.
direct action happening here.
Other
so-
members,
Yes, that's
other
a good point.
members of the kind would. They would also, as this is a grave violation of treaties made a long time ago, they would likely take some of this on. They would likely seek to detain, at the very least, any and all who were in the vicinity of such a thing.
Oh, that's a lot of people, including technically one of our. Okay, but I guess we made a good call reaching out to you, Sunon.
The hive is known as Sulan, but for the purposes of ease of communication, this individual is known as Aramis.
Aramis. Well, welcome aboard, Aramis. I'm looking forward to working with you.
Aramis inclines their head and then just walks over towards a kind of where there is seating near where one of the other caretakers is sort of examining a toolbox, and
Those are my old ones. They still work well though. I can show you my new stuff if you want. Venus has been chatting at the caretakers the whole time. Every time they pick something up, she explains what it is,
Yeah.
even though they probably don't care.
oh, they make absolutely no sign that they're listening to you at all.
No, no. Venus having a good time.
Yeah.
Though. She hasn't had. There haven't been new people in the ship in a while in a situation that wasn't dire. This is pretty
I mean, it's still
chill
kinda
for the
dire,
moment.
but,
I mean, it's
like-
dire, but in the future dire, immediately, this is chill. We were waiting for you guys to get back. We just had
Yeah,
downtime.
yeah,
So
good
Venus was
point,
very
yeah.
excited to show off the hold and some of her workstation is down here. It was fun. As soon as they started looking around, she's like, "Oh, expressing interest in my ship. Let me tell you about it."
All right. So,
Oh, April's got explosives, by the way.
That is
Good,
good.
I think.
Wow.
Ada will like peek in at them, go. Looks good.
Yeah, making sure we cover our bases, you know.
You see that one? And he's gonna point to like the I can't remember. I don't know if they named anything. Did they name anything?
There was like the timed thermal charges and just the grenade, which was
Yeah, that
not
one
like
didn't
yeah.
have a name.
Yeah, the gradient was like that one. I remember. Do you remember seeing like a newer model? Like this is a considerably older model compared to the one we have soon. But do you remember how big that blast
She
was?
just reaches in
This is
and she
probably
just
gonna be
reaches
like-
in, grabs it, starts looking at it, and just sort of. It's a little bit. She kind of like hefts it a couple times, and just it's a little clunkier than the one that we
Yeah, I think
had.
most things at this time are. To be honest, I'm starting to get used
That's
to
true. And they hand it back to you. The whole time, Abriel is just like,
it.
Yeah, I think Bina is also like not in the ship. Oh,
Like CT is like a hackle, the cat hackles at like
just in the
on
background, the
side.
three of them like simultaneously go like.
Like if it was anyone else, Talon would be like just the same reaction. But since it's Ada, it's like, oh
He's
yeah,
like,
no,
"Oh, yeah,
no one
she's
has.
good.
Everyone's
They're good,
saved
it's
his hands.
at this point, as one of the caretakers just starts scurrying like elsewhere into the ship, right past Alma as she's walking, and she's, we're ready to take off whenever.
Okay, I think we're good to go. If we need anything else, I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Just a heads up, we're down by 10k. Don't know if that really means anything because I'm pretty sure you won a lot
Yeah.
in your race.
Yeah, I think we're good. I mean, it's worth it to put it to something for a mission. So hey, that was the
Yeah.
point of it. But yeah, no. Well, we should go. We should get going. How long is this journey gonna be from here to?
This one
that
will
type
be
of maybe not.
this
you
one
know,
will be
that aerospace.
a little easier. Like it's much farther away, but because of that, conduit travel makes it like it's actually going to take less time. The excuse me, the jump on the other end of the conduit is probably only going to take a few hours. So yeah, altogether I'd say about a little less than the time it would have taken you to get to Sulan. Not by much, but a little less. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we should set off.
All right. So
And have we heard anything from Recon yet?
I think we won't until we get there.
And, oh yeah, because I forgot. Yeah, short range. Yeah.
With that,
Local comms.
you can feel as Awakener takes off, as y'all are talking, Alma at the helm. Any last minute things y'all want to do as before you
Kiss
Oh, I'm probably
Sulan
gonna-
goodbye. Wow. Love this place.
Us
The
too.
crowd here was amazing. Love the audience here.
All right. So, the next stretch of travel is difficult as the tension is high. Hold on. I have a thing for this. Actually, I'll find it later. The tension is high as you travel the rest of the way, with all of you just kind of in your own ways, sort of psyching yourselves up for what comes next. To many of you, the words of the Voxora High Council echoing in your mind that the final doom of the galaxy would be decided at the Prime Conduit. Not lost on many of you is the fact that could either be. Those words sound ominously prophetic, but looking at the picture, like basically like the picture arrayed ahead of you with all the information that you have of everything that you're moving towards. The reality starts to really sink in that what you're moving towards, it's easy to understand intellectually, like it's big, but the reality is starting to sink in on this particular journey as the tension builds, as the kind of collective anxiety on the ship begins to rise with every step closer that you get. The reality of it kind of starts setting in. There is, in the last few hours before you arrive, there is a sense that you are approaching a precipice, a point of no return, that the things that will be decided in the next several hours are mark the beginning of something far beyond that which you've faced thus far, and in a contradictory fashion. Because of that, maybe the atmosphere on the ship just feels silent. So, as the last few hours begin to slip by, having exited from the conduit on the other side of corporate space, and sitting at FTL, moving towards your destination, you all begin to feel that start to wear on you. And honestly, if this journey was going to be any longer, it would be difficult. As it is, it feels like the journey stretches on interminably.
I would say I think Bina's extra jittery because she's getting everybody else's. Like, Bina's a little restless, a little jittery, a lot of it freaked out, and trying to be like, okay, where are my emotions in this? Like, yeah, a little fidgety.
But after what feels like an eternity, Bina, you get the notification on the console that you're approaching the dropout point.
Bina's gonna go over comms on the ship and tell everyone, we're almost there, everybody. Get ready. Click off and get ready to drop out.
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be.
Yeah. See Vix, who has his huge rifle just sort of set on the table. He just sort of looks at it, picks it up, and slings the strap over his shoulder. Says, well, Taeon, this may very well be the end of all of us.
I mean, go out with a bang. Not a bad way to go.
Yeah. Well, just in case, I want you to know that you make the best faces when I piss you off. I just really want you to know that.
Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to hear right now.
Yeah, figure. I had a whole speech prepared, but I mean that really was the most important part of it. So.
Thank you for cutting out the stuff that was unnecessary. Yeah, that's all I really need to do. Shut up.
He just grins at you, and just sort of winks at Ada, who you can see as she just sort of as she starts like kind of strapping on her wrist terminal.
He looks at you like, "You're laughing too."
The betrayal.
she just-
the betrayal of the
Etu?
bridge right now.
Etu, Ada.
They look at
Etu?
you and then just split, and she says, and just goes, "It was her."
You're lucky you're cute.
So as you all begin to sort of gearing up, you finish up, you can feel that that sort of shift as the ship drops out of FTL. And as you all congregate up in the cockpit of Awakener, you can see ahead of you a huge expanse of stars with a massive collection of stations, many of which seem to be bridged by corridors, like docking corridors almost. You can see shuttles passing between them. You can also see in the as you're looking up ahead of you, as you round the corner around some of these stations, you can see where distantly there is very clearly Awakener's scanners have picked up a mass of vessels that are just starting to kind of arrive in formation at the far end of the sector. And as you...
I do want to put us in quiet running mode immediately.
Yes, absolutely.
Upon...
Yeah. Immediately, you see as Alma looks down at scanners, she goes, "Oh, and here come the rest of them." And you can see, as you see, like, the alerts for incoming vessels, where you see a whole other fleet jump in from the other side of the sector. And as the reports start sort of coming in from them, you can see the fleets identified as Commonwealth and Ascendancy signals. But the thing that draws your attention very quickly is behind all of this, the enormous ring shape of the Prime Conduit. For most of you, the first time you've ever seen one. Far, far dwarfing all other structures in the area. You see the looming form of the Prime Conduit. And as you look up ahead at this thing, you can already see, Bina, even though it's not active, you can see around the edges, familiar to you particularly as a conduit racer, you can see that sort of gathering energy as the conduit ahead of you seems like it is in the process of powering up.
Oh, you don't see that every day.
They're already testing it.
We
Or they're
have way less
starting.
time than we thought.
Does this look like a powering up, or does this look like they're sending something through right now immediately?
This looks like it's powering up.
Okay.
Like,
Could I have any guess on how long we have?
could be anywhere
Or
from...
is that completely
Honestly,
out of my,
it could be anywhere from... With a Prime Conduit, you don't know. But it could be anywhere from... Could be anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour.
Anybody got any ideas?
Yes, but I don't know how good of one it is.
Here's one last thing that I'll give you before... As you look at this conduit, all of you taking a closer look, Mason, you start feeling odd as you stare at this thing.
Oh no.
You start feeling like around the edges of your vision, the edges of your vision start going dark. And you start feeling that tunnel vision set in as you focus on the conduit. and then suddenly you feel you feel that focus on one part of the conduit, and then you feel that focus shift to another part of the conduit, and then you feel it shift to another part of the conduit. And as you are feeling this, you feel the unmistakable presence of not one but many artifacts.
Oh, fuck. That is a lot of artifacts.
Those are not the words I wish to hear at this moment.
I didn't want to see it.
Or it's just like silent as he hears that.
How do we avoid? Can we avoid that? Whatever happens.
That shouldn't be our concern at the moment. The research station is presumably what is controlling it and what is trying to power it up at the moment. We can deal with any other pieces of it later.
You're right. Okay. Can I locate that station?
That actually is not difficult to do. You can directly trace a connection to one of the larger buildings, kind of towards the center of the research complex, and you can trace the signal from that to the conduit that seems to be there. Alma just shakes her head. She says, "I agree. We knock out the signal first, buy ourselves some time, then we focus on that."
Then we go in. Okay. And I want to get us as close to it as if I can pull us up like underneath or right next to it, I want to, without being seen. But if that's gonna get us like in trouble, then I won't. I'll try to find something better. But like if I can get us like a shadow underneath that station, that's what I want.
Okay. I'm gonna have you make a piloting check here real quick, just to basically to try to maneuver through like any blind spots the station might have. So to answer your question, yes, I'll give you the difficulty in a second, but yes, right at getting this off the bat, like immediately, yes, Alma is going to give you an asset on this because she's gonna be helping you find those blind spots. So the difficulty on this, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a speed task. And
yeah, usually my piloting is.
The difficulty on this is gonna be, I think the difficulty is gonna be a 6.
That checks out. Okay, so from 6 down to 5, or from Alma?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh, I'm stressed. Piloting, I'm assuming. Tasks involving sight?
I would argue, yeah, probably, yeah, because,
Okay.
yeah.
That's all of it.
Okay. All right, are you gonna roll, or?
Yeah, we haven't rolled yet
Okay.
today. I'm gonna roll. I don't know if anyone else has, but I haven't.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's
anybody's
rolled
rolled,
today.
No, a single, yeah.
And
First roll of the game, yay!
Yeah,
Yay,
13.
3 hours
13, all
in.
right.
yeah.
So, you with the help of Alma and Awakener's scopes are able to pretty quickly maneuver through several, just sort of like taking advantage of several blind spots in their like visual defenses, with silent running taking care of any kind of sensor sweeps. You are essentially invisible to anything but a directed sweep, and that is not something that they are likely to do. As you approach, you're able to bring Awakener in just under that central area.
Okay. How do we get a look inside? Can you jump us in without having seen it, Tan, or is that too much?
Yeah, no, that's. I could maybe. It would probably take a lot out of me.
Okay. we spacewalking? I don't want to dock. I don't think.
Would I
That one.
be able to use scan right now and try to find us a way
Hmm.
in from underneath?
You probably could. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
literally
hell
just
yeah.
looking at it earlier today, but I don't actually know how it works. So,
Well, I can only scan a 10-foot cube. So, but learn anything. Oh, what is it? It doesn't tell me what a thing does. This is a really long
Yeah,
paragraph.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. I'm trying to skim it. Learn whatever facts that the GM feels pertinent about the matter and energy in that area.
Sure.
There. That is the important
Um,
sentence.
I'd say that without even needing to roll on this, I'd say that it's pretty easy for you to find a place where there is definitely, like, you're able to find pretty quickly just by following, like, energy flow from within, like, the structure. You're able to find a place where there is, like, a maintenance hatch, like a concealed maintenance hatch. So yeah, that is something that you'd be able to probably do.
Yeah, he'll like point it out to like Bina, and it's like, move over into that location. We should be able to. Don't know if we might need to spacewalk, but it is at least a way in.
You got it, and I'll remaneuver us so that we can get the easiest evacuation point of us nearest to that hatch.
Okay. Yeah. As Awakener just sort of goes belly up underneath the station, you sort of inch as close as you can possibly get to the hatch, and as you begin pulling in close, you feel just the very soft tap as Awakener comes into like contact, very very vague contact with the bottom of the station. Alma looks and says, "Okay, we're in place."
Okay, who's going in?
I'll go. Oh, Drac, I think you're muted.
Yes, I was. I can go in if. Obviously, more than happy to have company as well.
I'll go.
I would be willing to enter as well.
I think we have some suits.
I
We
think
wanted
Ada,
to-
we might need you.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we go in with a small crew, I might be able to out of sight, get all of us out of sight. But we don't know what's gonna be on the inside, so we might need a bigger crew. So I don't know what our pros and cons here are. The less of us that go in, the less likely we're gonna be noticed. But if we are noticed when there are fewer of us, the more likely there'll be a problem.
Yeah.
So
How about Bina, Ada, and Vix? Vix, you can keep yourself invisible, or at least direct people's attention away from yourself at the very least, right?
Yes. Yeah, I suppose I could probably do that.
And CT or Mason, you can go with them as well. I suppose the smaller the team that goes for the conduit is probably good as well.
we want to do this one thing at a time, target this, get it done and over with, and then check out the conduit.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I think this is maybe not the time to multitask.
Yeah.
So, this is the time to stick together the best we can, I think. You're right.
Alma just sort of says, just a quick report. It looks like the Ascendancy and Commonwealth fleets have engaged.
Oh,
It's starting.
oh, it sure is. Okay, is that possibly better for us, but still bad overall.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the plan? What's the plan? What do we gotta go? We gotta go.
Yes, I think all of us.
Okay.
Maybe still keep someone in the ship just in case. The last thing we want is to have the Awakener just sitting here. But all of us can go in there and just hope we're as quiet as possible.
I think we stay stealthy until we absolutely can't anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we suit up.
All right.
Time to suit up.
I'm always suited up.
Well, that's fair. That's
So,
true.
As you all make for the airlock, sort of begin suiting up in those of you who need to suit up in your
Yeah, does CT need to suit up?
Does Mason need to suit up?
Yeah, could we, if we like don't need as many suits, like why not?
Wow, he's just being up.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm not testing that out on Mason
Yeah,
until
probably not
we're not
testing
in,
that
I mean, you-
in the ship.
Maybe not
you
a today
do have an
gamble.
ability that could make that possible, but but anyway, so as y'all walk over to the airlock, prepped and ready, you see as the airlock opens, showing you basically instead of what you would normally see, like which would be either space or a docking corridor. Instead, what you see is just the surface of the base, the underside of the base, and the maintenance hatch that's right there. Ada goes up to it, and they immediately they take a device from their belt and just stick it to the console, and just you see as they pull up their terminal and just start going through it, you can see as it starts sequencing, and then she goes, "Okay, 1 second. All right, we're in." And you see as the light, like the indicator light, flashes for a moment and then turns green, and she unplugs the device, and the maintenance hatch just opens, revealing a maintenance access corridor inside.
God, I have no idea where I'd be without you.
What'd you say, Caitlin?
Here we go.
Okay.
Taylor's
many
gonna
of us-
climb in first.
How many of us can I make invisible?
Okay, so how many are going? It's all of you and Ada?
I think so.
Probably not
Does-
that
Yeah.
many. But as you
4 cost.
all
is
begin
the-
climbing into the maintenance access corridor one by one, just the eerie. Oh, actually, hold on a second. Let me just do this right. The eerie silence of the vacuum of space around you, as you all kind of one by one float up into the maintenance access way, pull yourselves in, and begin crawling. That sort of disorientation taking over as you go from climbing up into a station to then suddenly climbing along, as the station's artificial gravity kicks in. You begin crawling into the depths of the station to disable the signal to the conduit and hopefully buy yourselves some time to save the galaxy from whatever is planned. And that's where we'll pick up next week.
Oh gosh.
Nothing. Don't worry. Nothing to worry about.
It's fine.
Nothing to worry
Don't
about.
care. It's
Don't
gonna be
worry.
perfectly well. It's gonna be great. Amazing.
Today we gained +7 explosive devices and +2.5 caretakers. Slash plus the entire hive, actually.
Yeah, the
technically.
entire Sulan.
We have
True.
technically the entire Sulan hive.
Yeah.
We're
Man,
carrying all of Sulan on the backs of the Awakener.
No, +1 handhold.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
That was very
I
good
didn't
and
see
unexpected.
coming.
That was very good.
It's the what is this?
Oh,
that
yeah.
After Infinite Horizon stats? Is that what this is?
Yes, yeah, sorry. I like the thought that there is never a stable metric between every episode. Every episode has different stats that
Yeah,
are
different
never
stats that we're keeping
consistent.
track of. Yeah.
All right,
A
everybody.
handful of naps. We got a couple naps. That
Yeah,
was good.
yeah. All right, so we're gonna go, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight as we begin the finale arc of season 2 of Infinite Horizon.
Holy crap.
Um,
Ooh.
We miss you,
we
Olivia.
miss you,
see
Olivia.
you
We'll
next
be
week.
back.
Yeah, we miss you so much,
we will be
Olivia.
back next week with Olivia. And
Yay.
we'll have a full crew next week. Um,
Oh god.
So, some regular programming schedule this week. We have for the rest of the week, we have on Friday Ramblemancy at 7 p.m. Pacific time with special guest Rick Budd, who will be here to talk about superheroes. We're just gonna be hanging out
Woo.
talking about superheroes. I hear he knows stuff about superheroes. Like, I think
He will claim that he's
Mhm.
not an expert due to the person that he lives with.
Right.
However, don't let him hold that
That's
up.
right,
He's
yeah.
very,
I
very
mean, yeah.
knowledgeable.
honestly,
I do also understand
honestly,
that.
that joke is never going to get old for me.
It's
It's
always
just
funny.
like I don't know. I guess he knows some things about superheroes. I don't know. That's never gonna get old for me. So yeah, so Rick will be here. We'll be chatting about that on Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be back here playing some Mass Effect Legendary Edition with special guest Cole Morale, who will
Oh,
be
fun! I
yeah
didn't know
Cole's
that.
gonna be here
Ooh.
hanging out with me. They've been trying to like they've been like since way back when we first floated this as an idea that we were gonna do for the charity. Cole has been like, you have to let me be on there with you because they love Mass Effect.
Yay,
So,
good.
Uh,
So fun.
yeah.
so we're gonna be hanging out. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And then of course on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, we don't have Into Deep this coming Tuesday. There's no Into Deep on the 29th, right? Yes, the 29th. But they will be
Yeah.
back for their finale
Yeah.
on the 6th. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Look at us syncing our
So many-
shows
I
up.
know
so
it's
many
almost like we
finales.
got together and talked about it and specifically
I
planned it
know.
out.
Honestly, it's still cool
Yeah,
that it
I know,
happened,
like
though.
it-
It's not
yeah,
like with these shows are
Truly,
like,
yeah. So they'll be back on that week for on July 6th, theoretically for their finale. And then yeah, of course, Infinite Horizon will be back next week. And yeah, it was very exciting. I don't know what we don't have anything yet for Ramblemancy. We'll let you know what that's going to be about next week. So, until then, anybody else have other stuff they want to talk about real quick while we're still here at the end of this?
watch Power Play.
Yes, watch Power
Watch Power
Watch Power Play. I don't know. It's on
It's great.
Sundays, Q times, 5 p.m. Pacific, because I
You
know
got
my
it.
time zones.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
And also, it's podcasts, and so is this show. This show's a podcast, which we don't talk about very much. You should listen to this show as a podcast. But yeah, watch Power Play. I won't be there. More on me in chat. And then I'll be back the next week.
Well, everyone, Friends for Roll Dice. I'm doing a lot of stuff. Just follow me on Twitter to find out what I'm doing. But I'm Friends for Roll Dice. We're going to be finishing off our Trevor Project charity event next week
Yeah.
on the 29th with a Pasión Le Pasiones one shot. I'll be honest, don't know the time yet. I need to talk to everyone. But just keep an eye on the Friends Roll Dice Twitter account. That's Friends Roll Dice, and we'll tweet about it. So far, we've raised about $500, I think it is. I need to check because there was a stream today as well, and I haven't checked since then. But keep the money going because it's honestly really helpful. And right now, especially in the US, at least from what I've heard, there've been a lot of anti-LGBTQ things happening, especially in straight up law, which is terrifying. So charity events like this helps a lot. So please, if you can, donate. If you can't, tell someone who can.
Follow me on Twitter.
Yes,
I
follow
beat
me
me
on
to
Twitter.
it.
Follow Freeman on Twitter because he's making a ghillie suit. It's so
Yeah,
delightful.
Yes,
exactly.
do that
It's
too.
so
Yeah.
delightful.
I hope there's some laughter out there about it. It's a very fun project, but it's also
I
kind of
love
goofy
it.
and funny. It's awesome. Yeah, it's fun.
It makes me
It's
so happy.
picked a really weird season to do it. It's very warm and it's a very insulative
Ooh.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Join the Discord.
Yeah. So, if you are not yet in the Discord, you should get in the Discord because that is where we have all of our announcements. All of our major announcements go there. It's where you can get up-to-date information about everything that's going on right here on this channel or in the surrounding community around the channel. And of course, you can come and yell at us about this show on the Discord as well. So that's always very fun.
You know, when you've been walking on the beach and you get a little too close to the waves and they hit your feet and your feet get wet, if that's happened to you, then hit the subscribe. We are here on Twitch.
Yeah.
Has this ever
That's-
happened to you? Well, you should do it at Discord.
Funny.
Yes, it's true. It's
Excuse me.
very true. Our sorry. That was just I can't even you fully just completely derailed me. The subscriptions to this channel help us do so much cool stuff. And like basically everything we've been able to do has been directly as a result of the subscriptions on Twitch and our Patreon supporters. So those are all great ways to support the channel. So if you would like to support the things that you've seen here, I cannot emphasize how helpful that is to us. So
You know how cool our intro music
Yeah.
is? That's because
that's
you
because you subscribe. Yes,
specifically.
specifically you.
Yeah,
Yes,
we got
you.
that.
You know who I'm talking about.
You specifically.
You,
Yeah.
not you. By
Yeah.
the way, you.
You. Yeah.
But yeah, and
And other things. I meant to do a list, but like honestly, that's the most
True,
important one.
yes,
That one is so
absolutely.
cool.
of course, as Caitlin mentioned, this show is available as a podcast. So if you are more audibly inclined, that is a good way of catching up on any of this show after the fact. And of course, it also is available on YouTube. The new episodes go up every Friday. And actually, really, all of our content is now coming to YouTube. So, like, everything that happens on this channel is going over there, with the exception of game streams. So, yeah. But otherwise, like, Ramblemancy, Into Deep, and Infinite Horizon, all on YouTube. As well as some one-off stuff that will be making its way over there eventually. Once I have the bandwidth for it during our break, or during our season break. Yeah, I think that's what we got. Oh, shirts. Infinite Horizon tees with all the character art. Seasons 1 and 2 are back in the merch store. So if you want to get yourself one of those, do, because you can now. They're back. You can get all.
I still need to get
Yeah, me
mine.
too,
I gotta
me
get
too.
one. I need a
I
shirt.
need
for
to
I
as
only have my
well.
season
Yeah.
1.
I need to get one as well.
I
to
need
be
my
honest.
season 2 shirt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah.
It's just I washed my season 1 shirt with a sticker on it. It got
Oh
gooey.
no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I need a new one.
Yeah. So we yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in there. Stickers, Rule of Lore mugs, Rule of Lore hoodies, t-shirts. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Rule of Lore mugs. Use them to hold your liquid. We're gonna go. So have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. We'll see you next week. And we'll hopefully see you on Friday for Ramblemancy, but if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night, good zone, and thank you for sticking with us as we totally forget how to end the stream.